I guess it's all about who you know and who you blow, and I guess I blow the right people to be able to see this thing. So, Peninsula. This is a film that was released overseas. It has not yet been released in the United States. So you're probably sitting there looking, scouring, oh my God, how does Jason have a review the fuck up? What is going on right now? Well, I got lucky. I feel bad for everybody, but I wanted to see this one, so I said, screw it. I typically wouldn't even review something if I got it this early, but I wanted to talk about it because, man, this is such a different film. You're about to hear me mention a couple films that you would never expect to hear in a review for a Train to Busan sequel. So yes, this is the Train to Busan sequel. It also had a prequel, which was an animated film, full feature-length film, and that is on, I want to say that's on Prime. Might also be on Shudder. I can't remember, but look it up. Anyway, so Peninsula. Now, this felt a lot like a combination of a few things. Number one, the Train to Busan film was much more horror-centric, as to where this one is much more action-centric. Now, that's not going to play very well to a lot of horror fans. I know a lot of horror fans that are just not into action. It's not their thing. And if you're not into action, this is not going to work for you, because this is pretty much an action film. In fact, you know what film it reminded me of the most at times? The Fast and the Furious franchise. There's a lot of speeding cars, drifting through zombies, big action sequences with cars chasing each other. And I will say the CG on the car chases, when it's on the outside perspective, is very cartoonish. It's very good graphic video games of today. So I want to say it's like poor graphics from video games. It's like as good as video game graphics get. That's what it felt like. It felt like I was playing some Gran Turismo game or something when I was watching some of these shots from the car chases within it. Another movie that that this film reminded me of is either Escape from LA or Escape from New York, whichever. You'll have to see what I mean when you watch the movie. But so what this film is about is this is 4 years after the zombie outbreak, after Train to Busan. And we get an opening sequence that introduces to a couple characters. It's very dramatic. And that's another thing. This film has a lot of dramatic moments, and they're played in like super slow-mo, and they're drawn out for a long extended period of time, to the point where you're like, Jesus Christ, get it over with. Like, I get that it's dramatic, but holy hell, how long can you hold on something? Anyway, so we get introduced to these characters, then we jump up and we get to the time in which this movie is mostly taking place in, and these mercenary guys are hired to go in to an infected area because there's this truck that's carrying a ton of cash, and they're going to go in there, extract the cash, get back, and make millions. So it's a total heist extraction film, which I think is a great concept. I mean, for a zombie film, for them to just go into the city and try to get this gold or this, whatever, because the rest of the world isn't taken over. They've got to contain to an area. And so because of that, there is no one going after this money. So of course they hire these guys who are under the table, and they're going to go in there. And once they're in there, they meet the people who have survived, and man, has their world changed dramatically. There's some friends, and there's a lot of foes. So it's not just the zombies that are the villains this time. Not like Train to Busan didn't have its human villains, but this one definitely has a hell of a lot more. And let me tell you guys, this is a wildly different movie. I mean, totally different kind of movie. As I said, it's much more action-centric. So that's just not going to work for a lot of people. And of course, the video game type chase sequences, Fast and the Furious style, that's almost going to lose half of its audience right there. I personally enjoyed the film. I liked characters. I liked a lot of moments within the film. There's things I don't like. the super dramatic, overextended periods of time where they're like in slow motion and dragging things on, that did get a bit tedious at times. I could have dealt with a little less of the drifting, Tokyo zombie drift. There were sequences of that just kind of kept going, and it did feel like a video game at times. And I was like, Jesus, man, they really ramped this thing up. But the effects outside of that are pretty good. I did like where some of the story went. Overall, I was a fan, but man, this is going to displease a lot of people. Like, expect this one to be a split in the community for sure. Because, yeah, it tried something new, and I'm not sure if this was just overdone, Almost like when I watched the prequels and you just slip back and you're like, oh, whoa, he went way overboard. And even if you watch the documentaries of when Lucas was making Phantom Menace, and he kind of looks at everyone once they've done the screening, and he's like, think I went too far? Yeah. I think I went a little far. Oh, shit. Too late now. And yeah, that's how certain action sequences in this. I think that they could have toned down some of the action sequences, especially, as I said, with the car stuff, and then maybe cut out some of the lengthy, dramatic slow-mo scenes. And I think this would have been just a better film because it wouldn't have felt as hokey. Because that's what it is. There's moments where you're just taken out of it because you're like, okay, what is going on here? How is this Fast and the Furious now? Or like, why is this so dramatic? And even the first dramatic sequence, I just don't feel like it's earned because we don't really know anybody. Yes, it sets up later events and characters and whatnot, so it's good for that. But what it's not good for is making us feel something in that moment because it's not really connected to anything yet. The movie just started, and these are all brand new characters. You meet nobody new, or you meet nobody from the old films. They're all new. So, yeah. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one when it's released, but I'm going to say that it's mostly going to be negative, and that's a shame. But for me, it's a good time. I liked it, but man, what a wildly different film, and it's going to get some serious shit. It's going to get some serious shit. Just wait for that. They're going to pile in like zombies on this fucking thing and rip it apart. So, yeah, and I totally get it. But I enjoyed it. As long as you're a fan of like Korean action films that are over the top and just mix that with zombies, like this World War Z type zombie attack, you'll enjoy it. But if that sounds like shit to you, you might want to avoid it because I don't think you're going to like this. So let me know when you guys get a chance. I don't even know when the fuck you're going to get to watch this. But whenever you do, let me know. Adios.